Hey guys, going to be using the Semogue C5 Torga Premium Boar Bristle from Semogue. And this is how he looks dry. Stick him in some water right away. Boar brushes usually need, for me, I like to put him in at least 3 minutes. So now that he is soaking, we can introduce the other items. I'm going to continue with my Stirling soaps. I have some Maggard brand samples and some Stirling samples, and I thought that perhaps I would group them. For variety, I thought about switching them and alternating, but I got a feeling that certain people, if you like Stirling, then you may want to tune in repetitively, and then later on, if you like the Maggard brand, you'd tune in instead of kind of wondering, what's he doing that day. Although I try to hold the products up close to the camera for the little tiny thumbnail so that you can have a hint as to what I'm using. But I think I'm going to settle with just doing the Stirling ones that I have. Deep Blue Sea is another sample I believe I have. But this is Satsuma, and I looked up on their website. And it's a very simple accord, mainly sweet mandarin with some oriental spices. They describe it as robust and intoxicating, so we'll see how that goes. But mainly an orange scent with some spice. The razor we're going to use today, I did manage to find in all my boxes and stuff, one of my straight razors that is honed and ready to go. I've got a good collection of them that I bought cheap because they were not honed at all. And I'm going to learn how to hone someday. This is a Klas Tornblom, and I may be just butchering the pronunciation. But this was a new old stock razor that Rock Trader on Reddit, Sam Silver, he is a really good hone meister, I believe is the word, and he found some new old stock razors that were vintage but had never been used, and so it's pretty much in new condition. Was preserved very nice in terms of rust and things like that, and so I have used it I think 4 times, and so this is probably half of the number of times I've used a straight razor is probably half on this razor itself. It's a beautiful, it's not a very wide, not a very thick blade, and it has a very gentle little curvature right here. But as far as I know, this size is probably more recommended for beginners instead of something massive and thick. There are those contemporary straights right now that are being made that are just huge. They look like big axes, and I think those aren't great ones to start out on. Now, I'm also going to say things like I have before. The other day when I used an Artist Club razor, I'm new with the straight razor, and so I'll pass on what I've learned from people who know better, people who with a lot of experience that I've read. Probably if you do some straight razor research, you might find the same sources that I did. I'm not going to be able to pass on very much personal information, at least regarding techniques for a straight. All right. I'm going to take my washcloth here, and I'm going to use this to wipe the blade instead of rinsing it with water, because I want to keep water out of the hinge area. All right, the brush has been soaking now. Let us take our 1/4 teaspoon measure, and we will find the place where I cut open the sample so that I can, okay, there we go. So I can get out a little less than 1/4 teaspoon is just right with Stirling because it's a very economical soap. You get a lot of uses out of it, especially if you bowl lather. Usually people report about a month's worth of shaves from a Stirling sample puck, which is tremendous, about as good of a sample. I don't know of a better sample deal out there. Another way to sample Stirling scents, and I heard this from as I'm spreading this soap in the bottom of the bowl, is if Stirling has, and I guess this works for any other manufacturer too, if they have it in a bath soap, then buy the bath soap, because you'll tolerate, I mean, if you're like me, you can just about use anything like a bath soap, and they don't really go bad, and so you could enjoy the scent repeatedly in the shower or the bath, and see if you like it. And then if you've only spent a few dollars, if you like it, now you can go buy the shave soap, and even if you don't like it too much, not enough to get the shave soap, you still have a bath soap to use that smells kind of pleasant. Obviously, as you research the text and you read about the scent, that'll probably let you know whether you're going to enjoy it or not. All right, so we're all pressed in. So I'm going to wet my face as we prepare to make the lather. That way my beard will have a chance to kind of absorb that water for a few minutes before we start putting a lather on it. Now sometimes, I've definitely had it happen where the Stirling sample was not as strong as the full tub of soap. Maybe the log of soap samples sits around in the shop a little too long at the company, I'm not sure. But if you get a soap sample like this from Stirling, oh, that orange is nice. It is sweet. It's coming up to my nose right away. I like that. If you get a sample from Stirling and you lather it up and it's just a little too light for you, but you like it otherwise, I would say go ahead and buy the tub, because the tub is usually a little bit stronger. Man, that is a nice sweet orange coming up. I'm not smelling as much of the oriental spices, maybe a little bit. Three and a half teaspoons of water is what I have added recently to a similar amount of soap to get a good lather, so that's going to be my ballpark to aim for. So I am not going to add it super slow, but I will put 1 teaspoon in at a time. Then just a little bit of mixing until I see that the water is, integrated a little bit. Then I'll add the second one. Soapy fingers now. This is a short brush. Nice orange scent coming up. That's 3. It's nice to kind of have a number to shoot for based on past history. That way you kind of know when to slow down and tweak it. I'm not saying you're going to hit 3.5 every time, but it's a ballpark to shoot for. Looks pretty good. They say in straight razor shaving, most shavers use a lather that's a little wetter, more drippy than the double edge shavers. They just really need that ultra slickness. So I'm going to go for the full 4 teaspoons. And let's integrate that, see what the lather looks like. Looks good. All right. I think we're ready to go. I want to take more of this excess and kind of use it like a pre-shave and maybe dispel some of the natural skin oils I've got going on. All right, now a full rinse. And here we go. Yeah, really mainly orange, 95%. And it is a nice sweet mandarin type orange. Yeah, I believe I can detect the orientals, maturing it a little bit, adding a little dimension instead of just an orange type scent. But if I didn't know they were there, I might just think they were part of a nice orange scent. I might not be able to pick them up. My nose might not be that educated. So it's a smaller part of the scent, at least to my nose. All right. Try to get the water out of my beard. Sometimes for a straight razor, I will choose a brush that is very soft, very kind to my face, like a nice soft badger, since I'm new with straight razors. But this is a nice soft boar brush. He's very scrubby, but the tips are soft. Now you see the texture there? Tells me I need to bump up the water a little bit. When you add water and it doesn't get watery, but it kind of turns more creamy, then you probably were correct in adding water. That's definitely what it's done for me. I added about 3/4 of a teaspoon. And the lather is definitely improving. Got a big dollop fell off. Add it back to the brush just for grins. Sure, I'll have plenty of soap, but I don't know. Just something about wasting good lather. So we want this lather to sit on your beard for a few minutes, and I believe it's already done that as I've kind of been working it in. We want it to soften the hairs, also condition the skin to be lubricative and slick so that the razor edge glides over instead of catching on anything. As I have a noisy faucet, let me pause you while I rinse my hands off. All right, now no more rinsing of the razor or hardware. We'll only be rinsing the face between passes. I subscribe to the idea of switching hands, using the non-dominant hand for that side of the face. Some people like to use the dominant hand for the entire shave. I can see why it's more comfortable, but I figured let's learn a new skill. I'll try the switch. I've been pretty happy so far, just taking my time, keeping it light. Skin pulling is a prerequisite for a nice comfy stray razor shave. It's kind of hard for me to see. Maybe I need to tilt my head a little bit because see, my hand is right in front of my eyes, and so it's hard to see in the mirror. My idea is, when in doubt about your angle, go shallow. Because then if you make a mistake, you're not really cutting hair. Wiping it on the washcloth. This is much sharper feeling than that Artist Club blade from the other day. Much sharper. So I'm definitely going with the grain. Wiping the blade. And also I'm working on keeping a light touch and letting the blade do its work instead of trying to force it through the hair. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. I assume it is. I like the knowledge that I know I'm not going to get any water in this hinge. All right, let's switch to the left hand. And if you have the angle too steep, it'll be kind of scrapey. But if you know what you're doing, sometimes that's what you may want. But I'm taking the conservative route. Going with a real shallow angle. I'm definitely tempted always to grab it with my right, even though I know I'm going to do over here. And so I'm going to stick, even if I get sucky shaves, even if I get shaves that aren't as close, I can gradually improve my angle, but at least I'm not cutting myself up. So it's definitely a more cautious One time I got really sucky strokes and I realized I wasn't tugging that part of the skin properly. I wasn't stretching that part right. Now this is a tricky spot right here, and I had the same issue with the artist club. So I'm going to switch to more of a kamasori straight type grip and come. I'm not going to be parallel with my creases, with my neck folds right there. I'm going to either go this way or this way. This just doesn't feel all that slick. So what I'm going to do, just add some lather right there. Maybe this needed more water. Cheeks feel pretty good since those are a little easier to do. All right, not bad. If you are new to stray razor shaving and you want to try it, I recommend going to Rock Trader on Reddit. He has a posting usually where he'll list a bunch of vintage straight razors that he's purchased and then restored or just tuned up, and he's sharpened them properly. And he will sell them to you at a pretty good rate. He also has a strop that's inexpensive for you. The budget route is to look at his sight unseen razors. I think they're $40 right now, and then you add maybe $30 for a strop, and that's your introductory cost. I forgot to strop this razor before the use. So that's a really great way to get good steel, to try straight razor shaving out. He has honed the blade so you know it's sharpened properly. You haven't ruined the edge yet, that sort of thing. Watch some videos about how to strop properly, and that's a great way to get into it. The sight unseen razors are ones that he has finished up, but they're cheap enough to where he doesn't want to list them individually, and so he's got a box of them, and so he will grab one. You tell him, hey, I'm a new user, grab one you think will be good for that, and then he'll pick one from there, sharpen it up, send it to you. That's my advice. And he's on Reddit, ROC Trader, TRAITOR. All right, blade doing great. I'm going to fold him up, put him aside. I'm going to do a rinse now. All right, I added another teaspoon of water to the bowl since that lather seemed to kind of dry out a little bit on my face. Probably because I was taking a little while to get to it, you know. So let's add some more hydration. Now, if that happens to you, feel free to feel the skin as you're moving along. If it does feel a little bit too dry, you don't feel the slickness there, then just reapply. I really should have done that on that first pass. Right side again. A lot of that stubble's gone. Pretty smooth action here. Now you do want to watch out with the point as you move over to your ear. With a safety razor, it's not very likely you're going to cut your ear. But depending on the type of straight razor you have, you gotta be careful. And at some point you can take your towel and fold it over so that you're wiping on a clean area. I did feel a good bit of stubble after the first pass, but that's because of my conservative approach. And I'm fine with that. Hopefully future passes will take care of that, and maybe more experience will have me with a better shave from the first pass, but I'm not going to be hard on myself at all. Just take it as it comes. Careful by the ear. Now, this area right here may be my hardest area to get because it's on my non-dominant hand. That may be the part that is the least natural. Because see, when I'm doing it with this hand over here, my dominant hand, it feels pretty easy to get the right angles. And when in doubt, in that kind of area, I just leave it alone. Work on it another day. If you are a beginner in your very early stages, one of the tricks that I've heard people do, and I did do it my first few times, don't do your neck with the straight. Have a DE on hand to finish off your neck. Just do your cheeks. That way you learn how the razor feels, you get experience with how to hold it, with the angle that is comfortable for you, and that'll help you because you're not doing the complicated part yet. Training wheels, baby steps, that sort of thing. Alright guys, that was a better shave, probably due to the added water. And I did bring a balm today to use after the shave. I have a spot right here that's still kind of rough. My strokes right there must not be quite so great. Let's do a rinse. To encourage yourself to go slow, one idea might be to only lather half of your face at one time. And then when you finish that side, you lather the other side. That way you always have a fresh lather. That way you know you can just take your time and get it right. So, third pass. Don't really have any irritation so far. Maybe a little tiny bit on a couple of places. But I don't see any weepers or cuts or anything like that. This brush is treating me well. All right, here we go. My natural tendency is to kind of do these shorter strokes. I don't know if that's smart. I've definitely seen straight razor shavers do kind of longer strokes. I'm focusing so much on the straight razor shaving, I'm not really noticing too much the soap scent, but it is present. Say maybe a 5 out of 10, so I like that. You know, in general, I'm feeling very confident when it's in my right hand. When I'm doing my cheeks, you can see I'm kind of moving along a little fast. And in some of my neck, like that part I just did, moving along, I do feel very good. I don't feel like I'm going to cut myself. All right, left side. Getting into my goatee, I think. Time, and this is the kind of thing I really wish I didn't have glasses. This is that area where I need to work on my strokes to get a closer cut. I'm always being very conscientious about the edge. I don't want to tap it on anything or damage the edge at all. As I move the razor around the bathroom here, I'm being very, very careful with it. Not only for my own personal safety, but just to protect the edge and keep it working properly and nicely. Okay, now, see, when I was doing my little valleys and creases on this side, I feel like my skin was taut enough to where I just kind of went right over them. Let's try that with the other side. Yeah, that felt pretty good. Okay, now, this is that, yeah, I think I got that area cut a little better, but let's do a touch up right there. Nothing says you can't switch around and come from a different angle. Hey, that feels pretty good. I'm very happy with that. In terms of a basic beginner straight razor shave, I don't have any blood, I don't have any weepers. I don't even really feel any irritation right now. And it feels like a pretty close shave. Very happy with that. So I'm going to clean this off, put it away, be right back. There we go. Now I did bring a balm, anticipating maybe a little bit of irritation. Sharp Dressed Man from Stirling. Another thing about straight shaving is I want to make sure that we spread the word about RSOs. They are razor-shaped objects. If you get on eBay and Amazon, there are so many vendors who are trying to sell these razors, and they look like straight razors. But they are not made from a quality steel. And so they won't really hold a good edge. And so you're not going to get a good cut from them. Some of them are made in Pakistan. I think there are some good ones from Pakistan, but you really need to do your research before you buy one. And other countries make, junk straights as well. Also, if you look at one and it says Damascus, and you even see that pattern on the blade, if it's real Damascus, it's going to be hundreds of dollars. So that's fake, probably, and it is an RSO. It looks like a razor, but it's not good quality steel. It's not going to take and hold an edge properly. There are gold dollar razors that are available for a very low price. Some people say they're not really very good steel. Other people say they can be modified to hold an edge and hold it pretty well. And there are some people who will, and I think it's revolving around I believe this part right here is the heel. And there's a strong, thick piece right here at the heel on those gold dollar razors. And that prevents you from honing it properly until you grind down that heel. I think that is the issue, one of the issues with the gold dollars. And so there are people who know how to do that and do it properly, and then maybe you can get a gold dollar for $30. Maybe they charge you for that service, but a gold dollar that's stock may be difficult for a new user to hone properly to work, that sort of thing. The razors that you'll get from Sam Silver, Rock Trader, that sort of thing, they're going to be old razors because that's when they made straight razors back then, and the old ones are easier to get. But they're good steel, really good steel. There are different kinds of steel, and when you get to be a much better skilled person than me, you might be able to then figure out which ones you like and what kind of steel you prefer. Sheffield, England was a wonderful place for quality straight razors for a long time back in the day. Germany, great. Japan has some good straights from what I hear as well. So there are definitely certain straight razor houses, and we've got a good bit of American ones as well. And some of them can be dated, which is neat to get into the history of them. But I wanted to make sure you were aware that there are razor-shaped objects out there. They look neat, they look cool, but they're really more designed to be something you carry like a pocket knife or just to trick you into buying a straight razor. They're not meant to be shaved with. At least they're not of sufficient steel quality to give you a good shaving edge. And believe me, you want that sharp edge. You want it to glide through the hair. All right, there we go. My advice is what it is. I'm a noob at straight razor shaving, and I'll pass on what I learned and from the giants that have gone before me. But my face is comfortable. I'm really happy with the shave. I'm close and I'm comfortable, and those are the two main things. So I do take a conservative approach with my angles, but I think it's paying off. I'm happy with the way it's going. So Sharp Dressed Man is a great way to, I wonder if there's some orange notes in Sharp Dressed Man. I think they would be background notes, maybe bergamot. Anyway, I think it's a nice transition from the mandarin. I don't think I'll bring Satsuma in terms of a full tub into my collection, but it's very nice. I really do enjoy it. As far as citrus soaps go, the oriental spices do give it some interest, something to keep it from being just like smelling a tub of mandarin oranges. So happy with the soap, happy with the performance. The razor was enjoyable to work with. Very good shave. Very good. I'll clean up my stuff. So another use with this little guy, and you can see the bristles are getting thicker on the outside. He's starting to expand as he ages. 21 uses or so where he is right now. He's still pretty young. I'm really happy the way he's heading. All right, guys. Well, that's it. Good shave. I hope that there was something here for you. Maybe if you're thinking about trying straight razors, seeing a total noob go at it, just with slowness and carefulness, maybe might assure you that you're not going to kill yourself. So there's that. Lynn Abrams is someone online that I believe has got some good videos out there. I believe he's well regarded. I don't know too many other people to research and look at. But obviously you can get online and ask those kinds of questions yourselves to other people who are very experienced. I know there are a lot of guys out there that are able to help and willing. So I think we're good. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you get something good out of it. You take care. Good night.